From the Oklahoman newsroom, it's time for a Thunder update. I'm Jenny Carlson here with Thunder beat writer Eric Horn. Eric, we're getting awfully close to the start of the season, and I know that because Thursday, General Manager Sam Presti is going to have his annual preseason State of the Union press conference, and that means questions for Sam. What are the big questions that he's going to have to answer on Thursday?
The big questions are around the injuries or the surgeries. Andre Robertson is a guy who suffered his season-ending injury in January. The question is going to be around where he is in terms of his recovery. Next question, Russell Westbrook. This is a guy who had surgery last week, arthroscopic surgery on his right knee. Where is he? And if Sam Presti has any more information to shed light on in terms of Russell Westbrook's health. And then, there are going to be questions about the starting lineup. Since they're going to be guys who are going to miss preseason, presumably Dennis Schroeder is going to be a guy who steps in at point guard. But who's going to occupy that spot next to Dennis Schroeder in the backcourt? Is it going to be a new guy like Timothy Luwawu-Cabarrot? Is it going to be Terrence Ferguson getting another chance to start as a second-year player? Or is it going to be somebody else like Alex Abrinas, who's starting games at the shooting guard spot as well? And then you have a guy like Patrick Patterson, who was supposed to be the starter at power forward last year. Is he naturally going to fit into that role now because Carmelo Anthony's gone, or is this an opportunity for Jeremy Grant coming off of a new contract to be able to finally become a starter with the Thunder?
So is Presti going to answer any of those questions?
I think the injury questions are a little bit more answerable than the starting positions. I think that they're still going to evaluate who's going to be the starter at certain positions. They want to see where Robertson's at. I think we might have a more solid answer on Robertson on Thursday. In terms of who's going to start there, I think he's probably going to leave that more to Billy Donovan. And even Billy Donovan's probably not going to be very revealing when media day is next week on Monday. I don't know if Billy Donovan's going to be very revealing in that regard, probably before games. And he's going to have a full week of camp to see who fits best together, which rotations he wants to keep together. Remember, Jeremy Grant was really effective coming off the bench last year. And that's why you would assume that Patrick Patterson would take that role. But he's still going to want to see these guys in camp together and see how they work without possibly Andre Robertson, certainly without Russell Westbrook, because Russell Westbrook's probably going to be gone for the entire preseason. So I think that those questions about the lineup are going to be more Billy Donovan questions than Sam Presti questions.
You know, if Russell Westbrook doesn't have that surgery on his knee, which obviously is a big if, I mean, it happened, it is what it is, but if you take that out of the equation, isn't Sam Presti walking into this annual press conference he has feeling utterly fantastic about the offseason, re-signed Paul George, turned a disgruntled Carmelo Anthony into Dennis Schroeder, a guy that you could actually see this team using? I mean, he would have to be feeling, like he could do anything, like he could jump over the moon. Now it seems like that's not exactly the situation he's looking at right now.
They don't feel terrible about the Russell Westbrook injury because they'd rather that happen now and get that surgery out of the way than it happen in the middle of the season and then they potentially lose him for 20-some-odd games in the middle of the season. They'd rather have to start the season without him than have him, without him in the middle of the season. And that's not to say that Russell Westbrook doesn't come back within 4 weeks and is still able to play in the first regular season games. So I think that you're right. He does feel good about this situation considering that they got Paul George back. That was the biggest peg that they need to fill. They got a younger player that fits more into the style of play that they want to go forward with than Dennis Schroeder. They saved money on the luxury tax by getting Carmelo Anthony out of here. They got back Raymond Felton, who was a key reserve. Jeremy Grant's back in the fold, and he's still growing as a player. I think that Sam Presti probably does feel pretty good about this situation going into training camp, even with the injuries. The question is, the two big questions. How do they fare against a Western Conference that's a lot stronger across the board? And what kind of player is Andre Robertson going to be coming back? Because he was so important to their defense last year that if he's less than 100%, or even worse, if he's less than 80 or 70%, he's going to be a detriment to them because he just doesn't give you that much offensively.
All right, lots of questions out there. We'll be there on Thursday as Sam Presti has his annual press conference. Be sure to check out all our coverage on News OK and on Twitter. We'll have it all on those platforms as it happens, and then obviously in the Oklahoman on Friday. So be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.